All right, cool. Thank you. So going back to the agenda. Next is Police Chiefs Association of Prince George's County. Is this the current one? Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Sorry. So Denise, or was that me?
That's the meeting that's coming up next week. Tangi can give you an update. Tangi?
Thank you.
Her clock is a little wrong.
Good evening, board members and colleagues. So just to update everyone, the board will meet with the Police Chiefs Association of Prince George's County next Tuesday, February 28th, to provide an introductory meeting or an overview of the PAB. I did speak with the president of the Police Chiefs Association, Chief Towers, today, just to confirm our attendance. It would be great to know how many people are going to come physically. They did move the location to accommodate our request for a hybrid. So some people will be tuning in via Zoom, some will be physically in person. So if we can get like a hand count, even if it's tentative, you're not quite sure, I would like to be able to tell him, you know, we have approximately a certain number of people coming. So with that being said, let me just be more specific. By a raise of hands, can you allow or share whether or not you will be attending in person? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 people attending in person, and then virtually, how many people will be able to make it? 1, 2. And then
I'm a definite maybe for virtually and a definite no for in person.
okay.
It depends on work.
Okay, so I know an agenda is forthcoming with the Zoom details, so I will put that in the calendar invite. So at this point, does anyone have any questions for me? I think what you guys will discuss or what you guys want to share will be decided by the board members, but logistically, is there anything I can answer for anybody?
The chief, the head of them, which municipality is he from?
So his name is Chief Towers, and he is the chief, or he is President Towers, and he is the police chief for the city of Hyattsville Police Department.
Okay.
So are we gonna are we gonna just provide, I think I heard you say this, Tangi, are we just gonna provide an overview of the PAB? So, and if that's so, should we sort of talk about what that overview is gonna look like?
I think that's going to be up to the chair and the board. It's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes allocated to our board because there are other presenters there. So it could be something as introducing the entire board, who's present, who's online, who may be absent, and then an overview of possibly what the PAB does and what we may be requesting from them. And then at some point we have asked them to compile some questions that they may have. I did have an assignment to reach out to all the police chiefs in the county, in the jurisdictions, and some of them did have some questions. So if we can get those written and submitted to the board, then the board can decide how to move forward with addressing, the concerns or the comments that some of our jurisdictions may have for the board.
Okay, thank you.
So who is going to be developing the talking points? Calvin, you're going to put together the introductions and everything?
Yes, I'm gonna reach out to several other members to do that.
I'll help you with that if you'd like.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Bryant. All right, cool. Okay. Thank you, Tangi. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And you were so ready to come on camera, your hair and everything's on point, so you were ready.
It's my debut. I shall turn off my camera now.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on, thank you. New business. Yeah, I really don't have a whole lot. Denise, do you have anything first?
No, Marvin mentioned the Senate bill that's coming through the process now to give the PAB more strength. That bill is SB 285 in case anybody wants to look at it. And then there is an HB 518 that's also working its way through the House, which proposes to allow municipalities to create their own PAB and ACC. So a county could have a county PAB and ACC and the municipalities within that county, which is more of a concern for Prince George's County because we've got more municipalities than any other jurisdiction. But you could have a hybrid system if HB 518 actually becomes law.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And I think
Can you-
that's it.
Can you give me that Senate bill number one more time?
285.
285?
It's coming out of the Judiciary Committee.
Okay, thank you.
And they had on February 14th, they had some comments that they heard comments from the public regarding the bill. It's supported by MACO, and they had some speakers even from Prince George's County. Beverly John and a couple of others from the county spoke on that day. And there is a video online of those presentations.
Did you send that, Denise? I thought I saw that somewhere.
I'm sorry, who's
That
that?
was Kelvin. I'm sorry. I
Where?
thought I saw that. It might have been in my another email. I was wondering if you sent that link.
The video?
Yes.
Yeah, I sent the video.
Okay. I thought that came from you. Okay.
The one of the things that'll be interested if you all decide to read that Denise and I were talking about is if they run the way they are, at least on the concurrent, well, there's some county bills, I guess I should say.
Well, I think we might want a whole conversation on those county bills.
Yeah, but I was going to say just the possibility of two full records that would go up to a AHB, which should be very interesting.
So what Senate Bill 285 is proposing to do is to allow counties to not demand that they do, give them the option of giving their PABs investigatory and subpoena powers to conduct investigations simultaneously with the police departments. And it also requires that the police department has 10 days to provide any additional information you have if you're requesting information about those cases. But what it does not do that I have seen is put in place a mechanism to trigger the law enforcement agencies to actually send you the complaints. The law says that if you deem these complaints necessary to investigate, but the only complaints that you have now that you can be assured that you get are the complaints that come through the PAB. Because there is nothing in the current law that requires the police department to give us any of the complaint forms or to respond to our request for the complaint forms. So that's a big piece missing. You know, how are you going to deem something worthy of an additional investigation if you don't have the item that they have the complaints to look at? You have investigatory powers now, but it's subsequent to the ACC's review, and you really don't have a mechanism to trigger those investigations right now because we don't have investigators. The investigators in the ACC are limited into what they can do because the legislation, nor the county nor the state legislation gives them any investigatory powers.
I thought we could request documents or request information from the police departments related to
You will still be able to request that information. I'm just saying, if what they're saying is you can investigate these complaints if you deem them necessary, but you don't have the complaints. There's nothing that requires, you would have to request every single complaint and they would have to decide to give you every single complaint because there's nothing that mandates them to, in the new law or the existing law, that mandates them to give those complaints to you.
Mr. James has his hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Denise is accurate in that, and Dr. Coleman, I raised this issue before because we clearly know we'll have an incomplete data set, because if the complaint comes directly to a police department, it won't show up in our data set of complaints. So as we try to do trend analysis, we can be missing an entire set of information, data set that's completely unknown. So our trend analysis is going to be skewed from the beginning because we already have that gap. That gap exists in the existing law. It's something that I think needs to be closed because we do know that exists right now. So again, that gap exists now. So we might want to look at addressing that. And then Denise and Marva Jo, both of you made great points regarding the investigatory authority that the PAB has. That was a question I had about the structure of the PAB and the ACC. Mr. Stanton talked about the investigators were with the ACC, but I didn't see the authority for the ACC to do investigation. That to me was with the PAB. So I've always been confused if should we make the decision to have the investigations or subpoena based on what's already in the legislation. But if I understand correctly, we don't have the personnel, or do we have to ask the ACC to borrow their folks? But that's just me. I sometimes get into the details. And so maybe I'll just be quiet and leave that alone. But
no, we just had that conversation. I mean, it's sort of a mixed, the people, can we borrow? Can we,
And if you borrow, there are only 2 investigators. And if you borrow, because right now those investigators are reviewing the cases when they're sent in. If you borrow an investigator to conduct an investigation on the front end, you're going to have to use another investigator on the back end to review it. And there are only 2 investigators. So we have to decide as a group how we're going to actually implement this authority. If we get it, I would assume would assume that if the state passes the law and a county does the same thing, that we would have to hire investigators.
And excuse me, also, Mr. Sanchez, just so you know, HB 518 has a cross-file bill, SB 409. So they're tracking both. Both had hearings yesterday in their respective committees. I was there based on some other work that I do and some other bills that were coming up, and certainly these received considerable attention. So I think we might want to pay considerable attention as well to what's going on.
Mr. James, can you get those numbers again?
Sure. So the House bill is going to be 518. The cross-file bill is going to be 409, SB 409. So 518 is in the House, 409 is what's in the Senate.
Would there be a similar thing for SB 285?
Yes, there typically is a cross-file bill.
There isn't on this one.
I don't think this one has a cross-file bill, though. I think it's just right now just a Senate track on this one.
Yeah, 285 doesn't have a cross-file.
Yeah, there's another one that has a cross-file, SB 571, HB 582, that would also have some impact. Again, just a couple of those bills that reference the PAB, some are cross-filed and making their tracks. So again, it may be an opportunity just because in particular, like you said, 518, 409, there was a lot of discussion on those in the municipalities and the perceived backlog that was there as well. As Marva Jo indicated, we're doing a lot of work, and there's a lot of work being done across the state, but there may be some clarity that's needed as well on how the PAB, ACC, and the AHB all work, because it was not accurate. It was not accurate in the testimony that was given. There, if you go view it, you will find some fallacies in the information provided.
Can you give one example?
One example would be that, great example, that people who live in municipalities were not were not allowed to be on the county PAB. So to say if I lived in a municipality, they were excluded from even applying to the countywide PAB is absolutely untrue. And we know that because there are people that are on the board, on the ACC, on the Administrative Hearing Board that live in those jurisdictions. I personally was curious and researched. I can tell you where some municipalities posted on their own webpage for people to apply to the PAB. So again, to make that assertion that residents of a municipality were not allowed to participate in the PAB is not accurate, as well as the sentiment that the residents of those municipalities want to have oversight of their police department. Here's my personal perspective. There are a lot of people who pass through those municipalities that don't live in that community. And so it's not as if they are only policing the residents of their community. So again, there are some statements made that are inaccurate about how the PAB works, what the PAB's authority is. One of the things I point out to you all is that the police department that the complaint for the officer, that's who does the investigation. So to act like the local municipality has no insight, no say, is not accurate when that agency is the one that conducts the investigation.
Do you know who gave that testimony or who provided that?
We can go in the.
I'm just wondering if that was a
I
representative.
got multiple
of the
bills in my
unions or if
head,
that
so
was-
I'm trying to decipher really quickly. So in the Senate, there would have been a representative from the league, from the municipal league, as well as the mayor of Gaithersburg. In the House, I'm sorry, stay with me with the Senate. The chief of Upper Marlboro also spoke on behalf of that bill. That was in the Senate. In the House would have been a lieutenant from Gaithersburg, the chief of Bowie, representative for the Municipalities League, and that may be it. I'm trying to think if someone attended virtually to support on that one, but I don't think so. But again, you can definitely go look at those two hearings. I will admit to you, it was a very long day, so I can't tell you specifically where they happened in both and running back across. So it would be difficult, but they're both there. One is in judicial proceedings in the Senate. One is judiciary over in the House.
Yeah, that House bill
Make the
looks.
point, right, for getting what they wanted, so.
Yes, and I will say it was also talked about with amendments. So there's the bill that's there, but there are discussions about amendments to that bill as well. I haven't seen those released, but well, Mr. Sanchez, you about to say something. Let me let you get that idea out.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I mean, a lot of times you look at the co-sponsors of those bills and it gives you an idea of what jurisdiction is driving that. And the House bill, it's Montgomery County overtly. So I'm guessing it could have been the situation where that county council could have maybe made some changes and affected them in a way that left municipalities out. But the Prince George's bill is from Prince George's. So I mean the Senate bill is a Prince George's sponsor. So from a municipality. So that is rather curious.
I noted both.
But is that the one with Senator Watson?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, see, he's a whatever.
But yeah.
Yeah, he's a.
Mr. President.
Let me ask you this: which bill was the one that the Maryland League of Municipality made their top priority? Which one was that?
518-409.
That's the one where they're basically advocating on one law passed to that the local municipality appoint their own PAB board. I mean PAB. Is that the one?
I want to be accurate for you, Mr. O'Neill, and it will be giving them the authority. It doesn't require them. It would give them the authority to create their own PAB and ACC. I say that and point it out to you because there's no decision, there's no description on what happens at the AHB level in that instance. In which case, if the bill were to pass as it is now, it automatically becomes a hybrid because should an officer appeal, they have to go to an AHB, which only exists at the county level right now. It's not even in that bill for a municipality. So there are issues, and if somebody opts in, what happens if they opt out the next year? Like there are some concerns about how it will work. There are concerns for me as I read the exact verbiage that says those municipalities will hold meetings with the heads of law enforcement agencies that have jurisdiction. Well, if I use some of those municipalities, that still includes Prince George's County Police and the Sheriff's Office, which still have jurisdiction in that municipality. So again, who are they answering to? Would it be the county PAB or the municipal PAB? In which case they may force them to do both. to which I could see a problem as well. But again, that data piece that we talked earlier is a very important key element, because if you remove the PAB to their municipal level, we certainly would not have access to those complaints and that data. Mind you, all of the agencies collect complaints right now. Citizens can come directly to those police departments and file their complaints. That is absolutely not changed. They can still do that, as Denise pointed out. And if they do that, the citizen does that, we're not notified of that. However, we have a responsibility within 3 business days to notify any law enforcement agency if we receive a complaint. We have that responsibility to send that over to them within 3 days. There is no responsibility on the law enforcement agency should they receive it initially.
But I also think if on another, just I'm back on the investigatory. And can you imagine if the PAB is not only doing investigations and then talking about best practices for or coming up with a different conclusion than the ACC, and how that impacts the record going up to the AHB.
Mr. Chair,
It's very confusing.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to, to remind you of what you were saying today about your timing of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. James. I was informative. Thank you. I appreciate that, Denise. Did I see any more hands? Okay, cool.
You got a hand up? Oh, that's tangible.
Ten. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tangible.
just really quickly, regarding the hearings that took place yesterday, I dropped in the chat a link directly to those hearings. So you'll see on the right-hand side, the particular bill number or Senate Bill 285. If you click on that, it'll take you right to that testimony.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I had to,
I can't.
I knew something about those bills, so in the Senate, I got my senators on the Judiciary Committee, so he gonna slow walk all that. Let me just tell you right off.
All right.
Who's your senator?
Muse.
Oh, okay. That's right, for Washington. Sorry for asking, I should know.
Thank you. Okay, any other announcements? Marva Joe?
No, I heard Denise loud and clear. I'm quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Okay.
I was just reminding him. I'm not suggesting you stop, but but he wanted to be
Let me make
reminded.
sure. Right, yeah, I know. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I will ask just one question, because if you go and look at that, the Senate hearing, there's a reference to cases that have been already heard. And so at our next meeting, it'd be great to get an update on the ACC. They make reference to cases that have already been disposed by the Prince George's County ACC that was stated during that hearing. So I don't know if there's an update, may not be now, but it would be good if we could get an update as to what's going on with the ACC. Denise, I see your face. I'm just telling you, go look at the meeting and you'll see in here the exact same thing. I had a very similar looking face when I heard it, but again, I don't know everything, but that's what was, there was statistics from the Prince George's County ACC provided.
So they met already?
What is this televised?
The links are in the chat. You can feel free to go to those.
Oh, I know the link for the February 14th meeting is there. Tangent, there's another link.
The two in there.
Okay,
There's
I'm
one
gonna
for
check.
yesterday.
okay. Because if
You
I'm
can-
not
Most of those
mistaken-
links are from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So Denise, you saying they hadn't met yet? The ACC?
Well, no.
hadn't met?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't think they met enough for anybody to be putting together any stats. But
Right.
Well, the chair is right.
I think the first meeting was what is tomorrow, right?
Yes, I was moving on into the announcement, yes, and so to address what Mr. James-
Somebody was lying then, I guess.
Right.
So the very first meeting is tomorrow.
Yes, the first meeting is tomorrow, and let me see. There are about 27 cases, 14 of them have advisory letters, and 13 are under the ACC's authority right now. And so tomorrow on the agenda, I believe that there are 3 cases, and this is the very first meeting of the ACC.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
sir.
I would say some of those statistics that you just provided were referenced as and is specifically disposed. So again, there may have been some statements made, as I'm trying to point out, there may be the need to clarify some of the statements made in particular, because our PAB, the one that all of us sit on collectively and represent, was referenced, I will easily say, a dozen times between both hearings.
Okay, wow, okay. Okay. With stats too, right, from the ACC, right?
I'm just telling you, I deal in facts.
Yeah.
I deal in facts. Folks may not always like it, but I deal in facts because it's easy to prove.
Yeah, so like I said, they'll be meeting tomorrow. We'll be meeting tomorrow, and we have 3 cases that we're going to review. But I'll definitely bring that up and provide some feedback on what I found out tomorrow about that. All right. Wow.
I'm gonna be bad, and I'm gonna just say it. Just consider that in going into the meeting next week. There are people who will sit in that meeting who have clearly already taken a position on this. So just know it. Just know it.
Okay. All right. Wow. Anybody have anything else? Under announcements? All right, cool. I will get back to everyone. So if we could I'm sorry, I'm looking at the agenda. Right? Those are the only, one other, I did reach out to Denise. I'm sorry for not. I just got a response back from Dr. Chris Marsh that gives the implicit bias training. And so I reached out to her. She said that she's on a book tour and she would be available to do the training sometime in March, near the middle of the end of March. So what I'll do is I'll shoot an email to you if you can let me know what she did before. We'll probably go with the same thing. And then I'll put her in touch with you.
Okay.
So I'll send a copy you so you can discuss all the particulars with her. But she said that she was definitely open to doing that.
So does she want to do this virtually? Because I heard she had moved to Las Vegas or something.
Well, yeah, I think she was coming back from Las Vegas when I spoke with her. So that she said that it could be either way, depending on the day that we chose. So
Okay.
when we speak to her, yeah, we'll find out what her schedule is. But yeah. And I think that was it. That was the last announcement I think that I had about the Trump. So, all right, cool. So, if we could get a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Roll.
Ashley, you want to turn the recording off?
Yeah,
Ashley, turn it back on. Let me keep it on.
I see Miss Springs doing this right here. So yes, I understand. I was getting my tally sheet ready.
It's
So
back.
let me go ahead. The chair votes yes. Mrs. Bryant,
Yes.
Dr. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Melton,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Ridley is absent. Mr. Sanchez,
Aye.
Mrs. Springs. I know you're gonna say no, but
Aye.
and Dr. Vergamini.
Yes.
All right.
Did you
Meeting-
want to ask the rest of us who don't have a vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Aye.
You ain't got a vote, you don't need to ask you.
Well, I
You
think
you be on it by
know what my
yourself.
vote is.
Be like,
You on there by
yay.
yourself.
So hold on. So we can adjourn the meeting at 8:52, and if everybody can hang around for maybe 2 minutes after adjourning. So you can stop the recording. Meeting adjourned is 8:52.